What happened to your trophies? You took them all down?
Well, no, I redid my top shelf, so
You got enough shit in here?
I know.
Huh?
You win? You have a problem with that? You know what you should do? You should sanction me. Sanction me with your army. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have an army. I guess that means you need to shut the fuck up.
Sorry, guys. Like I said, it's Monday morning, having all kinds of problems. I'm Tabitha with Hassell with Tabs on Tap. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now my camera's going to start acting up. So you know what? We'll get it together. We have Col Joe Adams coming in. We're going to throw him in right away. Good morning, Dottie. Good morning, Sherry. Let me grab Col Adams. I don't know what's going on. My camera's zooming in and zooming out, and audio in, audio out. Good morning, Col Joe Adams. How are you doing this morning?
Good. I'm staying inside.
Staying inside, that is the best thing to do.
Oh, did it already. Where'd you go, Tab? Oh, no. Okay. Am I supposed to? Now I'm Tabitha Hassell.
Are you still there, Col Adams?
Yeah.
It's all right. It's not you. It's my camera. Like I said, Monday morning problems. These things, unfortunately, I don't know what's going on. I think I need to start the show on Sunday so that by Monday everything comes around. Col Joe Adams of the Washington Guard. How much snow do you think you guys got out there?
I measured front yard like 9 inches.
Nine inches? That's a pretty decent amount.
Oh yeah. The cats won't go outside. What's happening here? Oh, Deanna said I'm supposed to keep talking. That's a new one.
Never mind me. I'm Col. You keep on talking. I'm just trying to get the settings right here. Something is. Are you there, Col Adams?
I'm here.
All right. Well, you know what? Ignore what's going on in the background because, like I said, I'm just kind of messing with the camera, trying to get the camera back on track. So we're just going to carry on and just ignore some of the little technical things I'm doing in the background. What I want to talk to you about, obviously, it's been a very, very eventful weekend. Some of the things I want to talk about today, we're going to break down the Alex Pretti shooting. I've got lots of video to show. I got like a little compilation of video we're going to throw out there, and we're going to kind of walk through that. We're going to talk about the weapon. I'm going to leave that up to you. I know you've done some research about potential misfirings and different things like that. There's a lot of people who believe, and we're going to break down the video first, but there's a lot of people who believe that when the one officer took Pretti's weapon out of his holster, that the weapon may have fired. And this weapon is known to have that type of issue. So we're gonna get into that. But first, we're gonna go through the video, and we're gonna see what is going on now. Alex Pretti, of course, ICU nurse. Liberals are going mad. I don't know if you saw everything that unfolded, over the weekend. I'm assuming you probably did. Last night we had all these violent agitators at the Home 2 Suites in Minneapolis. They believed ICE agents were inside. They broke the doors down. They vandalized the hotel. They tore up the lobby. I saw photos of this morning, completely in disarray. But we're the bad people. ICE are the bad guys. They got to get them out of the city. We're going to talk about Donald Trump negotiating. I hope he doesn't negotiate with Walz, but I think he's going to. And I think we could potentially see the withdrawal of ICE from Minneapolis. So we're going to get into the implications of that as well. But the first thing I want to do, Colonel Adams, I'm going to show you a video of Chief O'Hara. Chief O'Hara is talking about how it doesn't really matter what the investigation says. He says it doesn't really matter because people, people are agitated, they're upset, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to play that here first.
Greater issue is, even if there is an investigation that ultimately proves that at the time of the shooting it was legally justified, I don't think that even matters at this point, because there is so much outrage and concern around what is happening in the city.
All right. I don't know if you guys were able to see that video or not. I don't know what's going on. I'm just having some system
Greater
issues.
issue is, even if there is an investigation that ultimately proves that at the time of the shooting it was legally justified, I don't think that even matters at this point, because there is so much outrage and concern around what is happening in the city.
But it does matter. That's Chief O'Hara. And I just want to apologize for anyone jumping in. I'm having some technical issues this morning. My camera's off. Nothing I can do about that. I tried to adjust it during the show and I just can't do it. I'm having a hard time playing videos. I don't know what's happening. But Colonel Adams, don't you think it makes a difference, or does it not? Because people have already made up their mind what they think. You're either siding with ICE and saying, hey, I see a justified shooting, or you're saying he was executed in the streets. People seem to have taken one side or the other.
Well, that was stupid. That little press conference is going to come back to haunt him. That's the most ridiculous statement by any police chief I've ever heard. Just ridiculous. Like, oh, it might have been legal at the time or whatever, but that really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter? Really? And you're law enforcement and you're the head of law enforcement? Hey, and when they were trashing that hotel last night, I mean, criminal acts, where were the police? So the police let them do that and get away with it? Really, where were the police? There were police inside trying to keep them out, but where was local PD? That's ridiculous. So now they're allowed to destroy hotels illegally, legally. That's great. But welcome to the blue state, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Just a joke. Hey, I looked something up, and there's 5 states over this last year, 2025, that over 150,000 arrests were made, over 150,000 by ICE in these 5 states. And that's Texas, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and Louisiana. With not one protest, with not one protest, not one loss of life, nothing, because those are Republicans, not blue states. So we, as Republicans or rural patriots, could arrest over 150,000 illegals is not supposed to be here. Got to know how many terrible criminals were in that group, and not one problem. But Minneapolis, Minnesota, ran by Democrats. See, it's all the Democrats, and they don't see it. And then they turn around and say it's our fault for being there. Why is it our fault for being there? No, ridiculous. And my favorite is Tim Walz calls out the Minnesota National Guard. You see what they're doing? Their main job is to go around and deliver donuts and coffee to the protesters.
You're reading my mind, Colonel Adams. You know what? I've got a video of that. Let's play that video.
Oh, God.
Or let's try to play the video. We'll see what happens.
I'm surprised that's on
It's almost Valentine's Day. We get a shot of it.
But thank you all.
See how it goes. Cup of coffee, sir? Chris, do you want on the end? At least not chocolate?
How degrading. It's ridiculous.
It's almost Valentine's Day.
Colonel Adams, as you stated, here we have the Minnesota National Guard. Everyone was excited when they got called out because we thought, finally, we have some protection for these ICE and Border Patrol officers. And then we find out, no, their objective, number one objective, of course, was to hand out donuts and coffee to the violent agitators. Their number two objective was to protect the autonomous zone that these violent folks have set up because, you know, they closed off all these streets. And the first thing we saw that happened is that we had the Minnesota National Guard come in and surround the no-go zone, handing out donuts and coffee, and they won't allow ICE or any federal agents within that no-go zone. So the Minneapolis National Guard is to protect the protesters from the federal agents. I mean, can you imagine being one of these Minnesota National Guardsmen and having to do this? I can't imagine that the majority of them are on the side of Walz.
Very, very degrading to our armed forces. I mean, the guards they don't even have guns. They weren't even permitted to carry guns. Just another ridiculous thing by the Democrats. Just like, if those would have been Marines standing there, they'd hit the illegals with the box first and then stomp on them. So anyway, just a joke. Walz continues, you know, and all this rhetoric and stuff. You know, the Attorney General and the mayor up there running their mouths, using the F word all the time. I guess the F word is permissible now on the air, on live TV. And in Walz, all this is about a distraction because Walz knows he's probably going to go to prison. That's all this is: smoke and mirrors and letting these people do these things. Minnesota, the state of no law enforcement. Anyway, so
it's a very volatile situation, you know, no question about it. And again, I know a lot of people keep jumping in, new people, and I apologize. I'm having some issues. I can't hear Colonel Adams that well. So if you guys hear me talk over him, it's because my screen keeps freezing, but I think it's just on my end. I don't think it affects anything you guys are seeing. So I apologize for that. But, you know, Colonel Adams, you know, what I want to do is I'm going to play the video. I have a video compilation of the entire Pretti incident, and I want us to take a look at that. We're going to break that down. And hopefully with my technical issues today, I'm able to do that. You guys have a much better view of things than I do, so keep that in mind. The technical issues are on my end. You guys will probably see the video just fine. It might be me where it kind of lags a little bit. But you know, which is really upsetting to me to have technical issues today because I feel like it's so many important things we need to discuss. But I've got a little compilation video. But, you know, I want to add before we show this video is that, you know, I personally feel, and Colonel Adams, I don't know how you feel. You can explain that to me. This was a justified shooting. It was not an execution. Now, you're going to see a lot of AI photos circulating on the internet that make it look like you have these officers standing behind Pretti with their weapon pointed at his head. But if you look at those photos closely, they are AI. They're edited. You can tell it's AI because AI makes a lot of mistakes. That's really not, you know, how it looks, but people are going to take those photos and run with them. But what happened, and we're going to break down on the video, is that, you know, officers, we have the luxury of playing slow motion video. We have the luxury of going back and watching videos and tearing them apart. However, the officers on the scene, all this happened within seconds. If you were to put it on a time clock, what would it be? It would be maybe a minute that all of this unfolded from the beginning to the end. These officers did not have time to respond. And, you know, one officer comes, you know, they get Pretti on the ground trying to detain him. He is arrested. He is an armed man. You know, I don't understand what it is that the leftists don't understand about the fact that if you come to a protest, which, by the way, according to the DHS, it is illegal to bring a weapon to a protest, to any type of political demonstration. It doesn't matter what your city says. It doesn't if you're carrying a weapon legally. The DHS said you cannot bring a weapon to a protest. It's a very dangerous situation, particularly if you're bringing a a weapon to go up against law enforcement, right, Colonel Adams?
Well, no, that's always been the law. The concealed carry permit, it talks about where you can't carry a weapon, large gatherings of people for different reasons, i.e., political functions. This is a political function because they're protesting, right? No weapons. That's a felony. He should have known better, right?
Correct.
You want to talk about that stupid gun he's carrying? Now, this is how smart this guy is, all right? He's a nurse, and they're showing all nice pictures of him. He's a hiker and all that stuff. Look, if there was one gun on this planet that was ever made that you shouldn't buy, is a P320, and law enforcement knows that. I've read reports where that gun went off in the holster of a law enforcement officer by itself. It's always been plagued. That's what they call a contract gun. They got a contract for a certain department. Their salesmen are out selling. Hey, we'll replace all of your weapons with our new P320. It's called a contract gun, and they mass produce them. They sell the gun to the law enforcement departments before they're manufactured. They got some prototypes that work. This gun is the kiss of death. I mean, that's how smart this kid was. I mean, you can buy those things for $200 at a gun show because nobody wants them. Now you could, excuse me, you can take that weapon to a person like Otto Matiska, master gunsmith, and get it reworked, and it works fine, but not out of the box. And how many officers are going to do that? Now SIG has even admitted to it. When they send them out, they warn people this gun has some problems. Probably should have more machining work done to it. So. And they're giving them away. I don't own one. I would never own one. So,
well, exactly. And there's like you sent it to me. There's an entire Reddit page about this particular weapon and how it cannot be trusted. So let's play the video. We're going to do our down, and let's see. It's a compilation. I'm going to slow it down. There's no sound. Let's see, or there shouldn't be sound. I turned the sound off. So we'll take a look here. Now, again, on my system, unfortunately, you guys have a much better view than I do. So this compilation here we're looking at, it's gonna bring it in. So here we have Pretti, and Pretti is, let me backtrack a little bit. Here we have Pretti, and he is walking in the street, which you cannot walk in the street during the protest. How many times have federal agents said you cannot walk in the street? You cannot obstruct traffic. You have to stay on the sidewalk. So here is the first issue here. And some people say, oh, he shouldn't have been killed, over being in the street or on the sidewalk. But it's very important that we note that he is in the middle of the street. Now, he waves a car through, not a nice car, just a regular car. Now, here he is waving. You see the other girls in front of him that get him into all the trouble. He lets the car through. Now, here's when things start getting a little dicey. It's going to switch camera angle. And you see, here, yes, he's probably trying to help this woman. Yes, ICE officers are pushing these people. Why are they pushing them? Because they're obstructing their mission. They're obstructing their operation. They're in the middle of the road. All these officers are doing is trying to get them over to the sidewalk. But you see, one of the females falls. Now, why Pretti doesn't let her go, I will never understand. He grabs onto her and doesn't let her go, and I don't know why. All right, now, Colonel Adams, I'm going to backtrack this, and I want you to kind of give us a little narrative of what you see. You know what I see. Obviously, Let's see. Brenda says it looked like they sprayed pepper spray. They did spray. Gosh, I'm just a mess today. They did spray pepper spray, yes, which is very common during these protests. Now, Colonel Adams, I'm gonna replay this again. Why don't you give us a little breakdown of what you're seeing?
Yeah, this is called getting your ass kicked. That's what I see. He interfered.
And yes,
with
they're Border Patrol.
Yeah, he interfered with the arrest, which is probable cause to arrest his butt. So, wrong place, wrong time, and never bring a P-320 to a gunfight.
Exactly. And, again, we're replaying it here. There he is again in the street. You can't be in the street. But, liberals want to say, well, he's an observer. He's a legal observer. He's videotaping. But, you cannot be in the street, even if you're a legal observer. That makes you non-compliant. Then he puts his hand up, resisting the officers as they're trying to apprehend this woman, which kind of puts him right in the middle of things, doesn't it?
I don't know why he's holding on to that woman. I don't know.
The only thing I can think of, it's very icy there, and maybe she was slipping in the ice. Maybe he was trying to get her out of the road.
Yeah,
But if he would have just went on and minded his business, none of this would have played out.
Yeah, he's got bigger problems than the actual ice. I found it interesting too when they always yell, gun. How many officers ran away? Tragic incident.
I noticed that too. I'm going to backtrack a little bit here.
The reason they get in there and kick his ass is because one of the rule of thumb is they stay together and overwhelm the suspect to keep them down. Overwhelm them. You have to. This is not a one-on-one situation. And then we found out he had a gun on him. Yeah, you can't bring a.
It's a difficult situation.
Yeah, it happens. It happens more than once. Yeah. Did they say?
Well, and I think, and Colonel Adams, what's that?
Did more than one officer shoot? Do they know that yet?
What, more than one officer shot, and I'm gonna turn the sound on for a second so we can hear the shots. Let's see. Let me go back to where it all begins.
I initially
scuffle begins. Let's see.
I initially counted 6 shots. 2 groups of 3.
But is knocked to the ground. A third angle shows more agents running down the street and into the chaos. From this angle, you can see the agent dressed in gray reaching into Pretti's waistband and appearing to grab something, possibly a handgun, and then running away as shots are fired.
Wow, 9 shots.
Okay, so now,
9 shots.
The one shot we hear sounds different than the others. Do you believe that was Pretti's gun? Or do you believe that was the initial officer's gun?
Well, somebody I reported that as the officer was walking away, the gun went off, which based on the SIG P-320, it's logical. So yeah, and once that first shot goes off, now everybody's on call. So terrible. And I counted 9 shots. How many did you guys count? 6 shots? I heard 9. Carl
said 6.
Carl, turn up your hearing aid.
I haven't even counted them.
I counted 9. I counted 9 that time. The initial shot, and then the rest of them joined in. So I heard 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 shots. I'll say 9.
Yeah, so I think the media's reported 10, but I've never counted them myself, But the first shot sounds very different than the other one, maybe just because it's muzzled. Maybe that was an offer. We've not heard any official report, by the way, about how many times he was shot, about where he was shot, about which officer shot him. There's been nothing official released yet. The investigation, of course, continues from what I understand. And, I don't know, Colonel Adams, if them attempting to cordon off the area, the crime scene, but the protesters wouldn't even let them do it. They would put the yellow tape up and the protesters would tear it down.
They're Democrats. What do you expect? That being said, he should have brought a real gun to the gunfight. Everybody see this? This is Deanna's birthday present. This is a Trump 45, including his signature on this side. Yeah, now that's a gun to take to a gunfight. We still got a copy? Carl,
They can hear you.
okay. Carl, can you still hear me? Somebody comment? I guess I'm taking over the show. What do you got? Yeah, okay, we still got a copy. I'll go ahead and continue. What do you got? Okay. Okay, copy. Okay. Big names in the press this week: Don Lemon, Jack Smith, George Soros' son. I had a private conversation with a visitor over the last few days, and I think most people know that George Soros' son just got married, and well, guess who he married? This is the great laundry. There's a lady within the Muslim Brotherhood who they call the Queen of the Muslim Brotherhood. In other words, she's the top-ranking woman in the Muslim Brotherhood, and George Soros' son married her. Now, use your imagination on that one. Now, the FBI knows that Soros is behind the funding of the Muslim Brotherhood, and they told me of 5 main Democrats. And I'm not allowed at liberty at this point to release their names. 5 major Democrats, we all know who they are, have now been found out that the Muslim Brotherhood is laundering money back in campaign donations and using a different name. So the money that was passed on probably came from Soros, but the Muslim Brotherhood are giving this money to people like Walz and the Attorney General and the mayor. But when they trace the name of who actually gave them this money, these people don't exist. Frankly, that's pretty ingenious. It's like you getting money from Ukraine as a what would they do? Money from Ukraine? Oh, it was a loan. That's better than a loan, because a loan you can trace back who loaned the money. You can't trace the money because the people don't exist, and that's going to come out real soon. But 5 major Democrats are on the block, so we'll see about that. And I've already wrote them down. Okay, if you still copy.
Unfortunately, Colonel Adams, I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
We're having some technical issues, Colonel Adams. I don't know if anyone can hear us. I don't know. People are messaging me that they can't hear us, that they can't see the show. I'm kind of waiting to see what's going on, and it is all on my end. It is not on your end. It is strictly on my end. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to wait to hear back from some people if they can or cannot hear us. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, we may just have to do our best or call it a day and try again tomorrow. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's weather related, if it's the streaming service. I'm just not sure. But I'm trying to pull things up. I'm keep trying to reload. And quite honestly, I don't know if anyone can hear us or not. No one's answering.
We got a separate show going over here. Hey, I forgot that Aberdeen lady. Yeah, she was married to Anthony Weiner, as I call him. So how curious is that? Yeah, I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. I'm going to go ahead and keep going. Let's see what my mistake. What I got? Top downs. Oh, Iran. Where is the Ayatollah Khomeini when you need him? So he's with underground. I checked on the people that's going to be involved in this from the USS Abraham Lincoln. That's a powerful operation going over there. On the fleet. USS Abraham Lincoln can carry up to 90 aircraft.